Hey guys, this is Nick from ThreadX3 Productions. With the release of Dead Cells and We Happy Few not too long after it, got me thinking about these type of games. There's other games like Rogue Legacy or Chasm that was just a few weeks ago. And let's not forget No Man's Sky that procedurally generates an entire galaxy. And it just so happens that an update just came out that completely changes the entire game. And it's definitely worth checking out. Even if you've played the game before, there are so many other games now that are procedurally generated. And this got me thinking. This is Thinking About Things, Procedural Fun. Many games are using the buzzword procedurally generated, but this is why I think it is so great and what makes these games so much fun. Let's say you're playing your favorite Mario game or Sonic, and part of the fun is memorizing the levels, the secrets, the enemy placements, and then maybe going through as fast as you can and as best as you can. Well, what if one time when you went into a room, it was a different room than all the other times you've ever went into it? Similar maybe, but everything has changed. Enemy placement, secrets. It looks like the same room, but it never is. This is procedurally generated. When done right, this makes a game endlessly replayable and, in my opinion, really fun. You never know what to expect. Some of my favorite games of the last few years incorporate procedural generation in some type of way. For instance, Rogue Legacy and Ziggurat. These are two of my favorite games of the last couple of years. Rogue Legacy is a side-scrolling game where you fight your way through this magic castle. Its rooms constantly shifting and changing. Even if a room has the same layout as you've seen before, there are so many things that can be different. Enemies, traps, treasures, where the entrances and exits are, secret locations. So even if you do get that same room, which is not that likely, even what's inside will change. Because sure, you might have a cross-shaped room, but what's in that cross-shaped room? That's what's going to change. I love this because it makes every run unique. Unless you use the architect, which why would you do that unless you're a... Now, not all procedural games do this, but one of the main mechanics that I love about this game is building your own skill tree or castle. Here's where you use all the gold from the last run that you just did and you build up your castle. Each room accounting for a different skill, like more health, more mana, armor, how much weight you can carry, and so much more. Like, I haven't even gotten into the fact that you can choose your heir each time you start the game. Now, this is my preferred style of procedural games. Everything changes on the inside, but you get a little bit better each time. So you're supposed to die, but with that last run, whether it be with gold coins or whatever the game wants to use, you use that to build yourself a character. Now, usually they have some type of mechanic like the gatekeeper who will take away all your coins when you start a new run. But each run you're doing a little bit better, not just because you're getting better with skills, but you have actual progress. Now, there are other procedural games like Spelunky and Ziggurat that you don't really level up. Spelunky is 100% procedural in the sense that every time you go through, you start from scratch. I don't particularly like it, but it is fun because it just gives you something new every time. Ziggurat is a little bit more forgiving. You still lose everything when you die, but by crossing certain milestones you unlock new characters, wands, level up cards. So although you still have to start from scratch each time, you're adding to the pool of stuff that will be thrown into the randomization pool. Ziggurat holds a pretty good place in my heart. Not only is its Doom-like FPS fast-paced shooting sends me back to a nostalgic time, but this game was actually released right before my daughter came, and when she did, she was 4 weeks early, just a little bit too small. This meant she had to stay in the hospital for 3 weeks, and after the first week, we were no longer able to stay with her in the hospital overnight. So that meant we had to come home night after night without her. It was really emotional. My wife, being emotionally drained, was able to fall asleep, but I was never that lucky. And I found some solace in the ever-changing dungeons of Ziggurat. Kept my mind racing, kept my mind off of this emotional trip I was going on. And for that reason, I will never delete this game from my PlayStation 4. And I mean, that's what makes procedurally generated games so intriguing. Life is full of unexpected things. You might be stuck in some sort of Mario loop where you're stuck on World 1 and 1. You know where everything is. You know exactly how to play the game, where to jump, where the enemies are, even where the secrets are. But it is the truly unexpected things that can change your life and make it interesting. Procedural games embrace this unexpectedness, and it challenges you to think on your feet and to always adapt and always evolve. You might see things along the way that are familiar, like a room or an item, but everything can change around that one thing. The good procedural games will always throw something new at you, and the really good ones will help you progress so that it teaches you that you can make mistakes and you can even have to start over, but that's okay because you are making progress. And for that reason and many more, that's why I love procedural games. Procedural games might just be a buzzword that's thrown in sometimes, but when it's done really good and it's done for the right reasons, it can make a game that much more enjoyable. I think all games should have some type of proceduralness to it so that nothing ever seems too mundane. Nothing ever seems like you're just in the same rut doing it over and over again. And there are many games that do procedural on a smaller scale, like an open world, GTA. You can go around the corner and you're not going to see the same person standing there every time, but that can only go so far. The more procedurally generated things in a game, the better. The more I can feel like I can escape my world into another world, and that world feels just as unexpected as mine, is great. And that's why I love procedurally generated games. Well, what about you guys? Do you like procedurally generated games? Do you think it's just a buzzword that they throw in there to make it seem cool? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Thinking About Things. Don't forget to check out all our podcasts like Nerd to the Third and UbiChat, and look out for more Thinking About Things every Monday.